Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash, the honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, peace and salutations to the Hakyam, to the elect that are scattered across the four corners of this earth, pushing His truth and His faith, and in all sincerity. On the bro Shemala from the GMS Houston camp. And his lesson is going to be on something that we encountered recently at our camp. You had a bug out, a guy that came up basically asking how do we know that we are Israel and not Hamites and all of this madness, right? And the guy, he basically, he watches videos because when he came up, we would call for scriptures and he would kind of like quote those scriptures, like, the words in the verses. So, we're like, okay, he watching videos or whatnot, but he was bugged out, right? But yeah, this video is basically going to be going into how that, we know that we Israel because prophecy is our DNA. You see, he was asking, how do we know that we come out of Shem and this and that, because of prophecy. Because the Israelites came from Shem. You see, that line goes back into Shem, and prophecy says, well, what happened to Israel, right? And what they would be doing in the latter days. You see? So that's how we know who the Israelites are, right? But I'll start here in Numbers 23:9. It says, for from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the four part of Israel? All right, so it's talking about Israel. I just wanted to read that next verse so you can see who the ninth verse was talking about. All right, it says, the people shall dwell alone and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Meaning, you want to go know who the Israelites were. The Israelites were not going to be known amongst the people. All right, and if you look at it today, we claiming that we are Israelites in this world. You see, because that is our heritage. It's in our bloodline. But the people don't recognize us as Israelites. We still operating under the nationalities that Esau Edom gave us. They're not changing it. And, the people see us. They watch the videos and this and that. They watch us bring out the scriptures and the precepts. But they're not acknowledging us as the real Israelites. You see? Because it was in their plan for it to be like this for us. Psalms 83:1, keep not thou silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be still, O power. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. See, it said that we wouldn't be reckoned among the nations. Why? Because we are hidden. We are hidden through crafty counsel, right? Through this education system, through the media, through all of these, wicked devices and wicked plans and agendas that these different nations came up with and are still coming up with, to keep our heritage hidden from us. Right? They came together. Let's read verse 4. It says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So they purposely got together to basically make us forget, to take our heritage from us. Right? They came together for us to forget, to push their ways on us. Right? Mainly Esau, Edom. You see? That happened right during the time of the Greeks, Antiochus Epiphanes. Right? Epiphanes was he was the fourth. Antiochus the fourth. All right, and he forced his ways upon us. And when we got here, the slaves, they did the exact same thing. You see, they beat everything out of us. All right, and that's why you got the results of our people today. But why did that happen? Why? Prophecy. Jeremiah 17:4. It says, "And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger which shall burn forever." So the Lord set it up. He said that we were going to be discontinued from our heritage, our land, the laws, statutes, and commandments, the names of the Heavenly Father and the Son, everything that pertains unto Israel. We were going to lose those things. But it wasn't like the Most High just going to zap it from us right one day. All right, now y'all forgot. No, it didn't happen that way. It happened over a process of time. See, because he says, "And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not." So our enemies were going to do it. Our enemies was going to push their ways upon us to make us forget. All right? So now that leads me to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Right. Deuteronomy 28. I'll start at 15. "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So if we won't listen to the Most High, if we were disobedient, right, unto the laws, statutes, and commandments, we were going to be cursed. And one of those curses was being in captivity, right? This is Deuteronomy 28:68. "And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee." Now, he said he shall go in Egypt again with ships. Egypt represents bondage. When you go to Exodus, I believe it's 20:2, "I am Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage," which is slavery. So Egypt represents slavery, because you didn't need a ship to get to Egypt. Now let's look at this. It's just a simple map right here that I pulled up. Right? You see Egypt right here. And right here on the top right, you see Israel. Look how close it is. You could walk, right? You don't need a ship. Look how close it is. You don't need to pack up all these people on a ship and take them right here around the corner. Now, how stupid would that be? See, so it's talking about something else. It's talking about something more like serious. This was spiritual. All right, this was spiritual. All right, so it ain't talking about that. It says, "Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies with bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, which no man shall save you," because we were in captivity, and we still in captivity. Ain't no man saved us. All right, but yeah, we came into Egypt again, spiritual Egypt, right? But not only here, Deuteronomy 28:64, "And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even to the other. And thou shalt serve other gods, which thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." So we're going to be scattered all over the place, looking like these different nations. Right? That's why you got the mystery of the Gentiles. You got the Israelite foreigners. Right? You're going to have these things, you see? But the Spirit is what's going to identify who the Israelites, right? The Spirit. You see? Romans 8:16, the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High, right? These scriptures align and match up with us, right? Through the Spirit and by the Spirit, we are doing what the scriptures said will happen. You see? The scriptures is playing out before, all of our eyes. We are subject unto these prophecies. This is what happens, right? This is how we know who the Israelites are. We're not going to have a physical DNA test. Even if we did go take a DNA test, man, those things would be, corrupted. They said they came together, to make us forget. So why would they put it in the DNA test? Oh, yeah, you are from the tribe of Judah. Oh, you are from the tribe of Issachar. Right? You from the line of David. They ain't gonna tell you that. Why would they tell you that? You see, Jake just be wanting physical evidence. They got no faith. Right? Those the same niggas back in the wilderness, man. No faith. And that's why they couldn't get in to the land of Israel. Right? The Most High had to kill them off. Right? But like I said, it's the Spirit. It's the Spirit that woke us up. Revelation 11:8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So our dead bodies, not physically dead, right? Even though we are getting killed over here, but this is talking about a spiritual death. Proverbs 21:16, the man that warned out the way of the understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. So without this understanding, without this knowledge of these scriptures, we were dead, right? Without knowing our powers, Yahweh and Yahushua, right? Which is the true name of God and when the world calls Jesus Christ. We were dead. So what? Like, it was no use for us. Like, if you are not living your life as an Israelite, following law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father, praying unto Him, it's like you are a useless vessel. You are dead. Right? So this was us. You see, following the ways of these different nations. So that made that we was the dead bodies, right? In the street of the great city was spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. What is this great city talking about? Babylon. Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon. So not actual Babylon, right? This was mystery Babylon the Great, right? Which is America. Spiritually Sodom and Egypt, right? So this place is Egypt, right? Spiritually. So when it says you shall go into Egypt again with ships, this is what it was talking about, right? Being in this land, right? The Atlantic slave trade, right? Transatlantic slave trade. All right. It said, where also our Lord was crucified, meaning X'd out. It says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. So they were going to know that we were the Israelites, but they weren't going to tell us. All right. They were basically enjoying, us in this dead state, basically. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, you see. They're rejoicing and make merry and shall send gifts one to another. All right, slaves, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. All right. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. They stood upon their feet, and a great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, so the spirit of life, which is that breath, all right, that wisdom, knowledge, understanding, knowing who we are, entered into us, right, after a process of time of not having it, right, that the breath entered into us, and we stood upon our feet, all right, meaning that the Most High gave us everything back, and we were going to be teaching our people who we are. We're going to be teaching about these prophecies, teaching about the end of, Esau's kingdom and rulership, right? We're going to be doing all these things, right? Isaiah 44:3. This is when the Spirit was going to hit us. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, right? Talking about the Spirit, and floods upon the dry ground, right? Ezekiel 37 goes into the dry bones. And I will pour my spirit upon thy seed and my blessing upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses, standing upon our feet, right? Receiving our heritage and all of these things. One shall say, I'm Yahweh, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. Yeah, I'm from this tribe, from that tribe, from this tribe, right? And another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh and shall name himself by the name of Israel. Right? You got Hebrew names, right? You basically getting your tribes, right? Like I said, you got 12 tribes of Israel. You're saying you from this tribe, from that tribe. Now, do we know accurately what tribe we are from? No, but we know that we are Israelites. That's all you need to know. All right? That's all that matters. You see? Then when you go to Ezekiel 37, right, going to the dry bones and us receiving a breath, and all of these things, receiving our identity, right? All coming about our graves. This was basically the same thing John saw, Revelation 11. But it says this, Ezekiel 37:16, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions, the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right? Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel and his companions, right? Ephraim on down, the northern kingdom. And join them together into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand, which is the stick is talking about a plank. And so the 12 tribes are going to be on this plank, right? And this is what we have when we are teaching today, right? Who else is doing this, man? Ain't no other nation doing this. Us, right? This is what the Most High said that the Israelites was going to be doing, right? And this represented the tribes coming back together. And when you go to Jeremiah 50:1, the word that Yahweh spake against Babylon, against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Jump down to verse 4. So it's talking about being in Babylon. In those days, in that time, said Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping. They shall go and seek Yahweh their power. So all the tribes were not in Babylon together. All right. You had the northern kingdom, which was in an Assyrian captivity, and you had the southern kingdom, which were in a Babylonian captivity. They weren't there together. So this is talking about something else. Man, these scriptures, you gotta have the spirit to discern these things, man. All right, because this is how the scriptures were written. All right, this is talking about over here in America. Like, this is where the bulk of us are. And like I said, in Deuteronomy 28:64, we are scattered all over the place as well. Right? So yeah, man. There's plenty more scriptures you can go into, right? But I don't want it to be, too long, right? But us rising up and saying that we're the Israelites, 12 tribes chart, all of these things. This is what prophecy said that will happen. And we are fulfilling prophecy. What other nation is doing that? Like, what other nation that's doing it? So this is how we know that we are the Israelites. Right? This is how we know we belong to one of the tribes on the chart. You see? Then he was saying, "Oh, how you know you ain't a Hamite and this and that." Man, look. Like I said, prophecy said this is what Israel was going to be doing, and you're going to have our people, or you're going to have Hamites that look like our people. But that's why the Lord said that about the wheat and the tares. Right? The angels will sort all that out when the angels come back. You see, but Ham ain't coming into this thing, bro. Bro, you notice, if you got a spirit, bro, you know this Ham spirit. Hey, you can tell the difference between our people and theirs. Right? But man, it's just like, bro, this place is about to end. You can't accept you an Israelite. You ain't got no faith. Hey, man, that's on you. Right? But the evidence is there. Let me see. But yeah, man, that was the lesson, man. Hope this was edifying. With that, I'm going to say shalom.